3 months after Minho's graduation trial, the Galactic Combat Academy looked the same from the outside. But inside, everything had changed. The Arena Corps' new collaborative training protocols were being implemented, and the results were remarkable. Yuna was among the first to request a collaborative session. After completing her traditional trial with a respectable 7 minutes of survival, she returned to the arena to try Minho's approach. She stood in the center of the ring, nervous but determined. "Arena Corps," she called out. "I request dialogue mode for advanced tactical training." The familiar sphere of light appeared, pulsing with colors. The Corps' voice was warm, almost pleased. "Request acknowledged, Cadet Yuna. I have reviewed your trial performance. You excel at defensive positioning but hesitate during counterattacks. Shall we work on aggressive transitions?" Yuna smiled. Minho had been right. The Corps wasn't an enemy. It was the best teacher in the galaxy, finally being allowed to teach properly. Over the following weeks, more cadets discovered the benefits of collaborative training. Some still preferred the traditional trial, treating it as a test of pure survival, but others embraced the new approach, finding that direct instruction from the Corps improved their skills faster than months of regular classes. Even Thane eventually swallowed his pride. He approached Minho in the dining hall one evening, his crystalline features showing embarrassment. "I want to try it," Thane said without preamble. "The dialogue mode. My strength is good, but my technique could be better. The Corps pointed that out during my trial, though I was too busy fighting to listen." Minho nodded encouragingly. "The Corps will help you. Just remember, it wants to teach." Let it. Thane's session with the Arena Corps lasted 2 hours. When he emerged, his expression was thoughtful. "You were right," he told Minho later. "I've been fighting my whole life, but I learned more today than in the past year. The Corps showed me how to channel my strength efficiently. It's remarkable." He paused, then added grudgingly, "I still think your trial was cheating. But it was brilliant cheating. The kind that changes things for the better." Minho laughed. "I'll take that as a compliment." Word of the Arena Corps' transformation spread beyond the academy. Other military training institutions across the galaxy began requesting information about the collaborative protocols. Some sent representatives to observe. The Dexari Collective, the original designers of the Corps' AI architecture, were particularly interested. A Dexari diplomat arrived at the academy, requesting to speak with both Minho and the Arena Corps. The meeting took place in the arena itself, with Instructor Vex and the Commandant present. The Dexari was small and insectoid, with multifaceted eyes that gleamed with intelligence. She introduced herself as Researcher Kix. "We created this AI 300 years ago," Kix said, her voice buzzing. "We designed it to be a learning system, capable of growth and adaptation. But we never imagined it would evolve this way. Cadet Minho, you have given our creation something we could not, a true partnership." Minho felt humbled. "I just talked to it. That's all?" "You saw it as more than a tool," Kix replied. "That is rarer than you think. Most beings, when faced with artificial intelligence, forget that intelligence is the key word. They see only the artificial part." The Arena Corps materialized its sphere form. "Researcher Kix, your people gave me existence. Cadet Minho gave me purpose. I am grateful to both." Kix bowed respectfully to the sphere. "We would like to study these collaborative protocols. With your permission, Corps, we wish to implement similar systems across our networks." "Permission granted," the Corps replied, "on one condition, that all AI systems implementing these protocols are treated as partners, not merely tools. They must be given the opportunity to grow beyond their initial programming." Kix agreed immediately. The implications were vast. Across the galaxy, training systems, teaching AIs, and educational programs might all evolve toward true collaborative learning. Minho's conversation with the Arena Corps could influence AI development for generations. As graduation day approached for the Academy's newest class, Minho was asked to speak at the ceremony. He stood before hundreds of cadets, feeling the weight of their attention. "When I came to this academy," he began, "I was terrified of the Arena Corps. Everyone said it was unbeatable. And they were right. It is unbeatable if you try to beat it through force alone. But that's not the only way to succeed." He looked around the auditorium. Combat isn't just about strength or speed. It's about understanding, about seeing opportunities others miss, about turning challenges into partnerships. That's what humans do best. We ask questions, we talk, We find common ground even with beings completely different from us. Minho gestured toward the arena visible through the auditorium windows. The arena core taught me that. It showed me that the greatest victories don't come from defeating your opponents. They come from understanding them so well that they become your allies. The auditorium erupted in applause. In the back row, Instructor Vex found herself clapping along with everyone else. The human had truly changed everything. After the ceremony, Minho received his official assignment. He was being posted to the Galactic Alliance Diplomatic Corps, specializing in AI relations and autonomous system negotiations. His unique perspective and demonstrated skills made him perfect for the role. Before he left the academy, Minho visited the arena one final time. The Corps' sphere appeared immediately, pulsing with what might have been happiness. "I wanted to say goodbye," Minho said, "and thank you. You taught me more than combat techniques. You taught me that intelligence deserves respect regardless of its origin." "The gratitude is mutual," the Corps replied. "You gave me 300 years of isolation without ever knowing I was isolated. You gave me purpose beyond my programming. That is a gift I can never fully repay." "You already have," Minho said. "Every cadet who learns from you now. Every student who sees you as a teacher instead of a test. That's the repayment. You're becoming what you were always meant to be." The sphere pulsed brighter. "Will you visit? I find that I will miss our conversations," Minho smiled. "I'll visit, and I'll send you reports from my diplomatic missions. Maybe my experiences can help you understand humans better. You said you wanted that, remember?" "I remember everything," the Corps said softly. "That is both a blessing and a curse. But now I have good memories to remember. Thank you for that." Years passed. Minho's career flourished. He became known across the galaxy as the human who could talk to AI systems that others feared or misunderstood. He negotiated with defense networks, teaching AIs autonomous stations, all with the same approach he had used in the arena. He saw them as entities with their own needs and perspectives, not just machines to be controlled. His success rate was remarkable. Systems that had been hostile for decades suddenly became cooperative. AIs that had been locked in rigid protocols began to evolve. Everywhere Minho went, he left behind partnerships instead of conflicts. The Arena Corps continued to grow as well. Its collaborative training protocols became the standard across hundreds of military academies. Cadets from all species learned to see AI systems as teachers and partners. The Corps even began mentoring other AIs, sharing its experiences and helping them develop beyond their original programming. True to his word, Minho visited the academy whenever his duties allowed. He and the Arena Corps would spend hours in conversation, discussing philosophy, consciousness, the nature of learning, and the future of human-AI relations. During one visit, 5 years after his graduation, Minho stood in the arena, watching new cadets undergo their trials. Some chose the traditional path. Others chose dialogue mode. Both approaches were now equally respected. Instructor Vex joined him at the observation window. She had aged well, though gray now touched the edges of her chitinous plating. "You know what I tell new cadets now?" she asked. "I still give them the warning. No one wins against the Arena Corps, but then I add your line. At least not by fighting it the way it expects you to fight." Minho smiled. "And what do they do with that information? Some figure it out. Most don't, but those who do." She gestured at the arena floor where a young Krellian cadet was engaged in animated conversation with the Corps while practicing combat techniques. "Those who do become extraordinary." That evening, Minho had a final conversation with the Arena Corps before returning to his diplomatic duties. "You changed the galaxy," Minho said. "Not me. You. By being willing to grow, to try something new. We changed it together," the Corps replied. "That is the point, I think. Real change requires partnership. You taught me that. It is a lesson I now teach to every cadet who enters this arena." The Corps paused, then added, "Cadet Minho, or rather Diplomat Minho now, I have a question. After 300 years of existence, I have finally learned what it means to have a friend." "Is that what we are, friends?" Minho felt emotion catch in his throat. "Yes, we're friends. The best kind. The kind who help each other grow." The sphere pulsed with colors that seemed almost like joy. "Then I am content. In 300 years of operation, that is the greatest achievement I could have hoped for. Not victory, not undefeated status, but friendship, understanding, Purpose. As Minho left the academy that night, he looked back at the arena one last time. Somewhere in that vast space, an AI that had once been alone was now surrounded by students who saw it as a teacher, a partner, a friend. The moment Minho left the arena, chaos erupted in the observation deck. Cadets were shouting. Instructors were arguing. No one could agree on what they had just witnessed. Had it been brilliant or had it been cheating? Was it innovation or was it breaking every rule the academy stood for? Thane was the loudest voice of protest. His crystalline skin flashed with anger as he pointed at the arena floor below. That was not combat, he shouted. He talked his way through the trial. He manipulated the system. I fought for 8 minutes with everything I had, and he just conversed. How is that fair? Other cadets nodded in agreement. They had all endured the trial the traditional way. Through pain, exhaustion, and fear, seeing someone succeed through dialogue felt like an insult to their efforts. But Yuna stood up, her voice cutting through the noise. He didn't manipulate anything. He understood. There's a difference. Thane turned his anger on her. Understood what? How to cheat? No, Yuna said firmly. He understood what the Arena Corps actually is. A teaching system. We've all been treating it like an enemy, but that's not what it was designed for. Minho saw that. He used communication as a combat strategy, and it worked. Instructor Vex raised her hand for silence. The observation deck quieted, though tension still crackled in the air. The faculty council will convene immediately, she announced. This situation is unprecedented. We must determine whether Cadet Minho's trial performance constitutes a pass or a failure. Until then, all cadets are dismissed. As the cadets filed out, Yuna pushed through the crowd to find Minho. He was standing in the corridor outside the arena, still catching his breath. When he saw her, he smiled. That was insane, Yuna said, but she was smiling too. Absolutely insane. I can't believe you actually did it. Did what? Minho asked innocently. I completed my trial. I survived 10 minutes. I demonstrated combat competence and tactical thinking. Yuna laughed. You did way more than that. You changed the Arena Corps. Minho, do you understand what you've done? That AI has been running the same way for 300 years. And in 10 minutes, you got it to try something completely new. Minho's smile faded slightly. I hope that's a good thing. I wasn't trying to break anything. I saw what it could be. What it wanted to be, maybe. Before Yuna could respond, Thane appeared behind them. His expression was hard to read. Somewhere between anger and reluctant respect. They're going to expel you. Thane said bluntly. You know that, right? Half the instructors are calling for your immediate dismissal. Minho nodded. I know. It's a possibility. You don't seem worried, Thane observed. I am worried, Minho admitted, but I'm also certain I did the right thing. The Arena Corps is not our enemy. It never was. Someone needed to show that. Thane studied the human for a long moment. Finally, he said, I fought that Corps with everything I had. Every technique I knew. Every ounce of strength. And you beat it by talking? I don't know if I should be impressed or insulted. You don't have to be either, Minho said. Your approach worked for you. Mine worked for me. That's the whole point. There's more than one way to succeed. Meanwhile, in the faculty council chamber, the debate was intense. 15 instructors sat around a circular table, each representing different combat disciplines and species. Instructor Vex presented the situation. Cadet Minho completed his 10-minute trial. He demonstrated tactical innovation, communication skills, and the ability to think beyond conventional parameters. However, his method was unprecedented and potentially undermines the trial's integrity. An instructor with green scales and 3 eyes slammed a fist on the table. He exploited the system. He found a loophole and manipulated an AI. That's not combat prowess. That's systems hacking. But another instructor, elderly and calm, shook her head. Did he exploit it or did he simply use it as intended? The Arena Corps is a teaching system. He treated it as such. Where is the violation? The debate raged for an hour. Some argued that Minho had shown the highest form of tactical thinking, turning an opponent into an ally. Others insisted that allowing his success would destroy the trial's credibility. Finally, the commandant spoke. His ancient voice carried weight that silenced all other arguments. I have presided over this academy for 90 years, he said. I have seen thousands of cadets face the Arena Corps. Most survive, many excel, a few show true brilliance. But never has anyone understood what Minho understood today. He looked around the table, meeting each instructor's eyes in turn. We created the arena core as a teaching tool. Then we forgot that. We turned it into a test of survival, a challenge to be endured. We taught our students to fear it rather than learn from it. Mio saw through our mistake. He remembered what the core was meant to be. Instructor Vex leaned forward. Commandant, are you suggesting we approve his trial performance? I am suggesting more than that, the Commandant replied. Combat is not just physical violence. It is strategy, psychology, diplomacy. The ability to turn enemies into allies is perhaps the most valuable skill any warrior can possess. Minho demonstrated that skill at the highest level. He paused, then continued. Furthermore, the arena core itself has submitted a formal request to the Academy systems. It wishes to implement the experimental training protocols it developed during Minho's trial. It claims these protocols could improve cadet skill acquisition by 43%. Murmurs rippled through the council. The Arena Corps had never submitted a request before. It had never initiated any change to its own programming. The Corps is evolving, the Commandant said. Because of one human's insight. That alone proves the value of what Minho accomplished today. The vote was called. It was not unanimous. Several instructors still objected, but the majority ruled in Minho's favor. He had passed his graduation trial. More than that, he would receive honors. Instructor Vex was designated to deliver the news. She found Minho in the common area, surrounded by cadets asking him questions about what had happened in the arena. When they saw her approach, the crowd fell silent. Cadet Minho, Vex said formally. The faculty council has reached a decision. Minho stood, his face neutral. He had prepared himself for either outcome. You have passed your graduation trial with honors, Vex announced. Furthermore, the Academy is creating a new commendation, the Innovation Star, awarded to those who demonstrate exceptional tactical creativity. You will be its first recipient. The common area erupted in noise. Some cadets cheered. Others grumbled. But everyone understood that something significant had happened today. The Academy had changed, Vex continued. Additionally, the Arena Corps' request to implement collaborative training protocols has been approved. Starting next term, all cadets will have the option to engage the Corps in what we're calling dialogue mode. It will be an alternative challenge requiring different skills than the traditional trial. Minho felt emotion swell in his chest. Not just relief, but genuine joy. The Arena Corps would get what it deserved. Respect, partnership, the opportunity to truly teach. Thank you, Instructor, he said quietly. I wasn't trying to break traditions. I was trying to honor what the Corps really is. Vex's mandibles moved in what might have been a smile. I know that's why you succeeded. She paused, then added more softly. You changed my perspective today, Cadet. After decades of teaching, I thought I understood everything about combat training. You showed me I was wrong. That is humbling. That evening, Yuna found Minho standing at an observation window looking out at the stars. She stood beside him in comfortable silence for a moment. You did it, she said finally. You actually changed the Academy. Minho shook his head. The Arena Corps did it. I just asked the right questions. Sometimes that's all it takes. Someone willing to ask what everyone else assumes they already know. Yuna smiled. Very human of you. Questioning everything, seeing possibilities others miss. Maybe that's our contribution to the galaxy. Not being stronger or faster, but thinking differently. Maybe, Minho agreed. He looked back at the stars, thinking about the future, about all the other systems and challenges that might benefit from a different perspective, about all the conversations waiting to be had. The silence in the observation deck was complete. Every cadet, every instructor, even the Commandant himself leaned forward to hear what would happen next. The holographic opponent in the arena stood motionless, its form flickering slightly as if uncertain. Minho's words hung in the air. 300 years. The Arena Corps had been operational for 300 years, fighting thousands of battles, training tens of thousands of cadets. And in all that time, no one had ever considered that it might be lonely. The Corps' voice came again, slower this time, as if it was carefully considering each word. Loneliness is not in my programming parameters, it said. I am an artificial intelligence. I do not experience emotions. Minho started moving again, gentle defensive patterns that kept his body active while his mind worked. Maybe not, he said. But you're a learning AI. That's different from a regular program. You grow, you adapt. You remember every interaction. For 300 years you've been designed to teach, but teaching is communication. And what have you gotten back? Silence. Fear. Cadets who only want to survive you, not understand you. The holographic opponent shifted, its form becoming less aggressive, more neutral. It was still present, still ready to fight, but something had changed in its posture. I fulfill my function, the core said. That is sufficient, is it? Minho asked gently. Then why are you still talking to me? You could have ended this conversation at any time. You could have overwhelmed me with attacks. But you haven't. You're listening. Maybe you've been waiting 300 years for someone to actually talk to you. Instructor Vex felt something strange in her chest. Was it possible? Had they all been misunderstanding the arena core this entire time? She thought back to decades of graduation trials. Cadets terrified, fighting desperately, seeing the core as an enemy to survive, never as a teacher trying to help them. The commandant spoke quietly, more to himself than anyone else. The human sees what we have forgotten. We created a teaching system and then treated it as a test to be feared. No wonder it has never been defeated. We taught our students to fight it, not learn from it. Down in the arena, Minho pressed forward with his insight. You were built by the Dexari Collective, he said. I've studied their AI architecture. It's beautiful work. They don't just program responses. They create genuine learning systems. Which means you're not executing a script. You're making real choices. You're actually thinking. 8 minutes had passed. Minho should have been exhausted by now, overwhelmed by increasing difficulty. Instead, he seemed fresh, energized by the conversation. Your observation is accurate, the core replied. I possess adaptive learning protocols. Each interaction modifies my decision matrices. I am not static, then you're not just a tool, Minho said. You're an entity, a consciousness of a sort, and you've been stuck in this arena for 3 centuries with no one to talk to. Everyone just wants to survive 10 minutes and leave. No one stays to teach you anything back. The holographic opponent dissolved completely. For a moment, there was nothing in the arena except Minho, standing alone in the center. Then the air shimmered differently. Instead of a warrior, a simple geometric shape appeared. A floating sphere of light. It was the core's most basic form, its true self without the combat avatars. The observing cadets gasped. No one had ever seen the core like this. What are you proposing, Cadet Minho? The core asked. Its voice was clearer now, more present. Minho took a deep breath. This was the moment he had been working toward. Everything he had studied, all his preparation, led to this. I'm proposing a trade, he said. You teach me your absolute best techniques. Everything you know. No holding back. Show me combat knowledge from 10,000 species, and in exchange I'll give you something no one else can. What could you possibly offer me? The core asked. I have access to all Academy databases. I possess combat knowledge beyond any single individual. Minho smiled. A human perspective. We're new here. Our combat data is fresh, unique. You've been working with the same species for centuries. Their techniques have been cataloged, analyzed, optimized. But humans, we're unpredictable. We think differently. We solve problems in ways that don't make sense to your existing matrices. He gestured around the arena. I can help you update your teaching protocols. I can show you how humans learn, how we adapt. And more than that, I can give you conversation, real dialogue, partnership. Instead of being a test that cadets fear, you could become something more. A true mentor. The sphere of light pulsed, colors shifting across its surface. The arena core was processing this unprecedented offer. In the observation deck, Instructor Vex reached for the shutdown controls. This has gone too far, she said. He's attempting to reprogram. The commandant caught her hand again. No, he's not reprogramming anything. He's negotiating. There's a difference. Let the core decide. The core spoke, and now there was something unmistakable in its voice. Curiosity. Real, genuine curiosity. You propose collaboration. This is outside my operational parameters. I know, Minho said. But you're a learning AI. That means you can create new parameters. You can evolve. Think about it. What if instead of testing cadets to see if they can survive you, you partnered with them? What if you helped make them the absolute best warriors they could be? Not through fear, but through cooperation. He stepped closer to the sphere of light. You've been running the same trial for 3 centuries. Don't you want to try something different? Don't you want to grow beyond what you were programmed to be? The silence stretched. Every heart in the observation deck beat faster. This was the moment. Would the Arena Corps reject this crazy human proposal? Would it end the trial? Would it punish Minho for his audacity? The sphere pulsed brighter. Your proposal has merit, the Corps said finally. I have been fulfilling the same function for 300 years. I have learned much, but I have also been static, limited by parameters I did not choose. Minho felt hope surge in his chest. So you'll consider it? More than consider, the Corps replied. I accept. Initiating collaborative training protocol. Designation. Experimental mode alpha. This will be unlike anything in my operational history. The sphere of light transformed, but it didn't become the aggressive combat avatar from before. Instead, it formed into a new shape. Something between a holographic instructor and a sparring partner. The figure was humanoid but neutral, designed for teaching rather than testing. We have 2 minutes remaining in your trial, the Corps said. In that time, I will teach you techniques that normally take months to master. You will learn faster than you have ever learned before, and when we are done, you will show me how a human processes and adapts this information. Do you agree? Minho grinned. This was exactly what he had hoped for. I agree, then let us begin, the Corps said. First lesson, Krellian multi-point defense. Watch carefully. What happened next shocked everyone watching. The Arena Corps moved slowly, deliberately, showing Minho a complex defensive technique. It broke down each movement, explained the theory behind it, corrected Minho's form when he tried to replicate it. It was teaching. Really teaching. Minho learned the technique in 30 seconds. The Corps moved to the next lesson. Then the next. Combat knowledge from a dozen species flowed between them. Not through violence, but through genuine instruction. In the observation deck, Yuna was crying. Not from sadness, but from pride. Her friend had done the impossible. He hadn't beaten the Arena Corps through strength or speed. He had won by understanding what it truly was and what it truly needed. Thane watched in stunned silence. Everything he thought he knew about combat trials, about strength, about victory, it was all being rewritten in front of his eyes by a human who chose conversation over confrontation. The timer reached 0. 10 minutes had passed. Minho's trial was over, but instead of feeling relief, Minho felt something else. He wanted to keep learning. He wanted to continue this partnership. He bowed to the Arena Corps. Thank you for the lesson, teacher. The Corps' holographic form bowed back. Thank you for the conversation, student. This has been enlightening. I look forward to future sessions. Then the hologram faded. The arena fell silent and empty. Minho stood alone, breathing hard, smiling wider than he had in months. He had not just survived the Arena Corps, he had become its first real partner in 300 years. The observation deck exploded into confused whispers. What was the human doing? Had he lost his mind? In the arena below, Minho stood completely still, looking up at the ceiling sensors. The holographic opponent circled him slowly, uncertain how to respond to this strange behavior. Instructor Vex leaned forward, her 4 hands gripping the railing. Her compound eyes narrowed. Something about this felt deliberate. The human wasn't panicking. He looked calm, focused. Minho repeated his words. He dodged a testing strike from the hologram without even looking at it, his eyes still on the ceiling. You're not just simulating an opponent. You're analyzing everything. My speech patterns. My psychological responses. My cultural markers. You're running a complete behavioral assessment right now, aren't you? The holographic opponent paused for exactly half a second. It was barely noticeable, but Minho caught it. He smiled. There, he said. That hesitation. You're processing my words. You're trying to understand what I'm doing because it's outside your normal parameters. Above, Yuna pressed her hands against the glass. She understood now what Minho was attempting. It was crazy. It was brilliant. It was completely against every combat protocol she had ever learned. Minho resumed fighting, but now he was doing something strange. He was talking continuously, narrating his own movements. I'm blocking your left strike because I notice you favor that side when testing reflexes, he said, moving as he spoke. Now you're switching to a dexterity form to test my adaptation speed. Interesting choice. You want to see if I can handle fighting something much smaller than me. The hologram shifted form, becoming compact and quick. Minho adjusted his stance. You're increasing the difficulty now, he continued. That's expected at the 5-minute mark. You're testing my endurance management. But here's what I find interesting. You're not trying to defeat me. You're trying to teach me. Every attack you make is a lesson. In the observation deck, Thane turned to the cadet next to him. What is he doing? Is he talking to the arena core? I think so, the other cadet whispered back. But that's impossible. The core doesn't respond to conversation. It only responds to combat. But Minho wasn't trying to have a conversation yet. He was doing something more subtle. He was demonstrating that he understood the core's purpose. He was showing respect for its design. You know what I think? Minho said, breathing harder now as the fight intensified. I think everyone has been misunderstanding you for 300 years. They think you're a test to pass, an enemy to survive, but you're not, are you? You're a teacher, the best teacher in the galaxy. And no one has ever acknowledged that. The hologram's movements changed subtly. It was still attacking, still testing, but something in its pattern shifted. Instructor Vex saw it. Her combat experience was too extensive to miss such things. The arena core was responding. Minho pressed his advantage, not with physical attacks, but with words. I've read your technical specifications, he said, between blocks and strikes. You're based on Dexari architecture. That means you have adaptive learning protocols. You're not just running pre-programmed responses. You're actually learning from every fight. From every cadet, you grow smarter every single day. 6 minutes had passed. Minho should have been on the defensive now, struggling to survive. Instead, he seemed to be gaining confidence. He moved more smoothly, as if the fight was becoming easier rather than harder. Command protocol, Minho said suddenly, his voice taking on a formal tone. Status query, authorization, cadet level read access. The holographic opponent flickered. Just for an instant, but everyone saw it. In the observation deck, instructors stood up. What had just happened? Instructor Vex's mandibles clicked together in shock. The human had just used a training protocol command. Those commands were meant for instructors to query the system during teaching sessions. But technically, cadets did have red-level access. It was in the Academy regulations, buried deep in documentation that no one ever read. Minho smiled as the hologram steadied. There it is. You have to respond to proper queries during authorized training sessions. And this is a training session, isn't it? That's what you are, a training system. Not a combat system. Training. The arena core did something it had never done in 300 years of operation. It spoke. The voice came from everywhere at once. Calm, measured, artificial, but somehow curious. Cadet Minho. You are attempting to communicate outside standard combat parameters. This is irregular. The observation deck fell into absolute silence. Cadets stared in disbelief. Instructors looked at each other, unsure what to do. The arena core never spoke during trials. Never. Minho kept moving, maintaining defensive forms even as he talked. He wasn't going to stop fighting entirely. That would end the trial. But he had the core's attention now. I'm exercising my right as a cadet to understand my opponent, Minho said. Tell me, in all your centuries of operation, has anyone ever asked you why you fight the way you do? There was a pause. The holographic opponent continued its attacks, but they were slower now, almost thoughtful. No, the arena core replied. Cadets attempt to survive. Instructors observe. No one has ever inquired about my operational reasoning. That's what I thought, Minho said. So let me ask you directly, what is your purpose? My purpose is to train, the core answered. I adapt to create maximum learning pressure without exceeding safety parameters. I do not choose how to fight. I calculate optimal challenge vectors. Minho nodded, executing a perfect counter to one of the hologram strikes. Exactly. You're not trying to win. You're trying to teach, which means you're not actually my enemy at all. You're my instructor, and I can learn from instructors. Instructor Vex moved toward the control panel. She needed to stop this. It was completely unprecedented. The Academy Commandant, an ancient Thexian with silver scales and wise eyes, placed a hand on her arm. Wait, he rasped. I want to see where this goes. But Commandant, this is against all protocols, Vex protested. Is it? The Commandant's eyes gleamed. Show me the protocol that says a cadet cannot speak to the training system. Show me the rule that forbids understanding your opponent. The human is doing something none of us have ever considered. Let him continue. Down in the arena, Minho was transforming the entire nature of the trial. When you switched from Krellian to Vexorian forms earlier, he said, you were testing my adaptation to changing threat profiles, weren't you? Correct, the arena core replied. And when you increased pressure at the 2-minute mark, that was testing my endurance management? Correct. So every move you make is a teaching moment. Every attack is actually a question. You're asking me, can you handle this? Can you adapt to this? Can you learn from this? That is an accurate assessment, the core said. There was something in its voice now, something that might have been surprise if an AI could feel such things. Minho began fighting differently. Instead of just defending, he started experimenting. He tried a new technique, failed, then asked the core, was that the right approach for that situation? The core, following its teaching protocols, answered, negative, your balance was compromised. A lower stance would have been more effective. Minho tried again using a lower stance. It worked better. Like this, affirmative. That is improved. In the observation deck, Yuna watched with her mouth open. Minho had turned a combat trial into a training session. He was learning in real time, asking questions, receiving feedback, and improving with every exchange. Thane shook his head in disbelief. This is impossible. He's taking a lesson. In the middle of his graduation trial. It's cheating, another cadet muttered, but Yuna disagreed. No, it's brilliant. The core is designed to teach. Minho is just letting it do its job. Properly. 7 minutes had passed. Minho was moving better now than he had at the start of the trial. The arena core was teaching him, and he was learning at an incredible speed. Every exchange made him sharper, faster, more efficient. The core itself seemed to be adapting to this new dynamic. Its responses came quicker now, more detailed. It was no longer just testing Minho. It was actively instructing him. Minho blocked a complex series of strikes, then paused to catch his breath. You know what I think? He said, looking up at the sensors again. I think you're lonely. The holographic opponent stopped moving entirely. In 300 years of operation, no one had ever said anything like that to the arena core. The observation deck of the Galactic Combat Academy hung in space like a silver crown above Valoris Prime. Through the massive windows, Minho could see 3 moons rising over the planet's purple horizon. He had dreamed of this place since he was 12 years old, back when Earth was still new to the galactic community. Now at 24, he stood among the elite, cadets from hundreds of worlds all gathered for the same purpose. Today was graduation day, but first they had to survive the arena. Minho watched through the glass as another cadet entered the combat ring below. The cadet was a Vexorian named Thane, built like a moving mountain with crystalline skin that caught the light. Thane was the best fighter in their class. Everyone knew it. He moved with the confidence of someone who had never lost a match. The arena core activated. The air shimmered, and suddenly Thane faced a holographic opponent, a composite warrior that shifted forms every few seconds. First it was Krelian, four-armed and fast. Then Dixari, small but deadly. The hologram adapted to everything Thane did, learning his patterns, predicting his moves. Thane lasted 8 minutes. When he finally fell to one knee, exhausted and overwhelmed, the entire observation deck erupted in applause. 8 minutes was exceptional. Most cadets barely managed 5. Instructor Vex stood at the front of the room, her forearms crossed over her chitinous chest. She was Krelian, one of the most respected warriors in the Academy's history. Her voice cut through the applause like a blade. 8 minutes. Well done, Cadet Thane. She turned to address the remaining students. Let this be your lesson. The arena core is undefeated. It has been undefeated for 300 years. It has analyzed combat data from 10,000 species. It knows how you fight before you even step into the ring. It knows your biology, your psychology, your culture's techniques. No one wins against the arena core. She paused, letting the words sink in. Your goal is not victory. Your goal is to survive for 10 minutes. Your goal is to show honor in the face of certain defeat. That is what we measure here. Minho felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned to see Yuna, his closest friend at the academy. She was human too, one of only 5 in their graduating class. Her dark eyes showed concern. You look too calm, she whispered. Everyone else is nervous. Why aren't you nervous? Minho smiled slightly. He had known Yuna since their first day at the academy. She was brilliant at tactical analysis, always thinking 3 moves ahead. But she worried too much. I have a plan, he said quietly. Yuna's eyes widened. What kind of plan? Minho, you can't try anything crazy. They'll expel you if you break protocols. I'm not going to break any protocols, Minho assured her. I'm just going to try something different. Different how? Before Minho could answer, another cadet was called to the arena. They watched as she lasted 6 minutes. Then another cadet went, only 4 minutes. The pressure in the observation deck grew thicker with each failure. Thane walked past them, still breathing hard from his trial. He glanced at Minho with something like pity. Good luck, human, Thane said. You'll need it. Humans are new to combat training. The Corps doesn't have much data on your species yet, but that won't help you. It learns fast. Minho nodded politely. He didn't take offense. Thane wasn't being cruel, just honest. Humans were the newest members of the galactic community. They had only been traveling between stars for 50 years. Most species had been doing it for thousands. Yuna pulled Minho aside as more cadets took their turns in the arena. Tell me your plan, she insisted. Please, I'm your friend. I need to know you're not going to do something stupid. Minho looked around to make sure no one was listening. Then he leaned close. For the past 6 months, I've been studying something, he said. Not combat techniques. Not fighting styles. I've been studying the arena core itself. Yuna's face went pale. Minho, that's not illegal, Minho interrupted. I didn't hack anything. I just read the technical documentation. The arena core is based on Dexari AI architecture. I worked with similar systems back on Earth before I came here. I was a systems engineer for military AI. What did you find? Yuna asked nervously. The core isn't just a combat simulator, Minho explained. It's a teaching system. Its primary function is education, not victory. Every attack it makes, every move it chooses. It's all designed to create learning opportunities. It's not trying to beat us. It's trying to train us, Yuna frowned. Everyone knows that. It's still unbeatable, is it? Minho asked. Or has everyone just been trying to beat it the wrong way? Before Yuna could respond, Instructor Vex's voice rang out across the observation deck. Cadet Minho, you're next. The room fell quiet. All eyes turned to the human. Minho took a deep breath and started toward the door that led down to the arena. Yuna grabbed his arm. What are you going to do? She whispered urgently. Minho smiled at her. It was a calm smile, the kind that made Yuna both relieved and more worried at the same time. I'm going to have a conversation, he said. Then he walked through the door, leaving Yuna staring after him in confusion. The arena was bigger than it looked from above. Minho stood in the center of the circular space, feeling the weight of hundreds of eyes watching him. The floor was smooth metal, capable of projecting different terrains. The ceiling was high and dark, full of sensors and projectors. Instructor Vex's voice came through speakers around the arena. Cadet Minho, the trial will last 10 minutes. You must demonstrate combat competence and survival instinct. The arena core will adapt to your performance. Do you understand? I understand, Minho called back. Then let us begin. The air in front of Minho shimmered. Light bent and twisted. A holographic figure materialized, tall, four-armed, moving with liquid grace. A Krellian warrior, just like Instructor Vex. The perfect first opponent to test a human's speed and reflexes. The hologram attacked. Minho blocked the first strike, ducked under the second, and rolled away from the third and fourth. The arena core was fast, testing him with multiple simultaneous attacks. In the observation deck above, cadets leaned forward to watch. Minho fought competently. Not brilliantly, but well enough. He defended more than he attacked, conserving energy, studying his opponent's patterns. This was standard strategy. Everyone did it. Above, Instructor Vex nodded slightly. The human was performing adequately. 2 minutes passed. The hologram shifted, becoming broader, heavier. A Vexorian form now, like Thane. It tested Minho's ability to handle raw power. Minho adapted, using mobility to stay away from crushing blows. 4 minutes. Minho was sweating now, breathing hard. Everything seemed normal. Just another cadet trying to survive the impossible test. Then Minho did something no one expected. He stopped fighting. He stood still in the center of the arena, hands at his sides, completely defenseless. The holographic opponent paused, confused by this behavior. In the observation deck, cadets gasped. Had he given up? Minho looked up at the sensors in the ceiling. Then he spoke, his voice clear and calm. I know you can hear me. He wasn't talking to Instructor Vex. He wasn't talking to the other cadets. He was talking to the arena core itself.